number 101 of Laudato Si of the Holy Father Pope Francis says that at this stage I propose that we focus on the dominant technocratic paradigm and the place of human beings and of human actions in the world. I welcome you all, friends of Christ, to this channel and to this particular episode, the fourth episode of our journey on the Care for Our Common Home message of the Holy Father Pope Francis. It is the third chapter under discussing in this particular episode. We thank you very much for following us with your comments, your likes. They are a source of motivation for us. If this is the first time of coming into contact with this, then you have to subscribe to this channel and like and share our videos and keep us moving. Thank you very much for doing that for us. So let's quickly jump into our business for the day. And as I already said, the fourth episode of this journey and the third chapter under discussion. The third chapter is the human roots of the ecological crisis. And so the first quotes I gave you is summarizing everything we are coming to talk about in this particular chapter. He's saying that the Pope is saying that at this stage he wishes to propose to us that we look at the dominant technocratic paradigm and let's look at the place of human beings and of human actions in the world. And as the chapter already suggests to us, it means that human beings have contributed immensely to the mess that we are seeing in the land today. We all admit that there are a lot of things going on in the land which are not supposed to be going on. Human beings are the dominant contributors to this kind of mess. And this is what we are coming to talk about in this particular chapter. Technology is super. Technology is good. And most of us delight in technological advancement because the age in which we find ourselves demands that we use technology. And in fact, it helps us. Technology is good, as the Pope stresses, as the Pope also comments on in the beginning paragraphs of this chapter. He says that technology is good. Technological advancement has come to help us in doing work easily, efficiently, and effectively. When we go to the agricultural sector, we see tractors, we see combined harvesters, we see herbicides and pesticides. All these things are used in farming and they increase production and do work easily. It is good. When we go to the health sector, we see machines, diagnosing machines that doctors use to diagnose our diseases and all that. In treatment of our illness, we see the medicines they use. They are all part of technological advancement. When we go to the educational sector, we see machines, we see computers, we see projectors and what have you, all that you can think about that we are benefiting from technology in the educational sector, you can mention to yourself. All these are directed towards have a good motive, but behind it there is a mess. Technology is supposed to do good to us, but it's doing bad. Why? Because we are lacking in appropriate ethics, in appropriate technology, in appropriate conscience, in appropriate spirituality. These things the Pope talks about and he stresses them. He says that even though technology is good, human beings have not guided technological advancement that they have seen with the appropriate conscience and spirituality. So it is only the cultural revolution that can help us to use technology and use it well for the good of all of us. Instead of being good to us, it is being done to our detriment. So that is the first thing we would like to talk about here. Technology is good, but if not guided by the appropriate spirituality, appropriate culture and conscience, it's going to do harm instead of good. So technocratic paradigm, that is the next thing we talk about. Technocratic paradigm is seen doing what we call technology taking over human power and then becoming man instead of man being man. So God creates man to be man. not technology to be man. So it's like technology is taking over our place as human beings, as masters of creation, because we have seen technology is doing better than us, something that we have created ourselves. We admit that yes, God created the world in the 6 days that we always hear about in Genesis. That is what we believe in, that God has finished creation, and he did that in the 6 days, and it's over. Now he gives power to human beings to create. That is why human beings have created machines to help them in creation. So we are creating now, and we have created machines to help us create more things. That is what is happening now. But these things have taken over our place, and they are now acting as though they were created in the image of God. So we see that in the economic sector, we see human beings are laid off work, and machines are doing the work that human beings have to do, and human talent is thrown away. Capabilities that human beings have been endowed with by God, these things are all left to fade out, because machines are doing the work that human beings are doing. Because of profit and efficiency of work, employers lay off their employees and buy machines to do the work that those employees can do. Human beings are laid off work. This is what technology is doing to us, and we don't have to rejoice over it. We have to have a cultural revolution so that we change our lifestyle towards the way we use technology. Another thing is the rise and effects of modern anthropocentrism. When we say anthropocentrism, we are saying that, first of all, anthropocentrism comes from the Greek anthropos. Anthropos means man. So anthropocentric is a man-centeredness, sort of man-centeredness behavior. So man is the center of everything. So we talked about man being created in the image of God and given dominion over everything that God has created. In the previous chapter, the Gospel of Creation, we talked about that. Yes, so even as man is the center of everything, he has the power, he has the freedom to do everything that is right. All that is right, to care for the land, is what man must be seen doing. But unfortunately, we are not seen doing what we are supposed to do as humans. We have neglected the poor, we have neglected the needy, we have neglected the physically challenged, the visually impaired, and many other people of disadvantage in the community, in the societies. We have neglected them, and we say we are created in the image of God. We lack this compassion for other people. So when we say care for the land, we don't only mean we should preserve the forest, we don't only mean we should preserve the water bodies, we don't only mean we should preserve our animals around us. We also mean that those who are disabled, those who are challenged in our societies, we should extend a helping hand to them also. Let them also feel belonging, let them also feel something that we have to be doing. So that is another way of catering for the land. So caring for the land, the Pope says that we don't only have to cater for the water bodies, the trees around us. Human persons are also gifts of God to man. So we have to cater for human beings as well. Another thing is the dignity of human labor. The Pope stresses that so much too in this particular chapter, the dignity that lies in human labor. So Pope John Paul II shares similar thoughts in his famous Labore Messages, where he says that we have to adopt a subjective dimension of work to the objective dimension of work. Because something is called work, it is called work because the one doing it is a human being. So human beings being subjects of work, not objects. What technology has come to do, it's kind of seeing human beings as objects of work, because we are almost laid off work. And human beings are seen as nothing. Machines are doing the work that human beings are doing. We see robots even in the kitchen preparing food. We see robots running errands for people. As human beings are there to do those jobs. Robots are doing that. It means that the technological advancement is taking over everything. And even work that's supposed to reveal our dignity as human beings is not there. So that is what the Pope is trying to say. That even monastic life, where we see that in the monasteries where monks and nuns will pray and do all kinds of spiritual activities, after all those things, they still work, because they regard work as parts of their spirituality. Work must be a spirituality of the human person, because in Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, God tells Adam and Eve that they should go into the garden. They are not just to keep the garden, they are going to till the garden. And tilling the garden means they are going to cultivate, they are going to work with nature. They are going to mix their labor with nature in order to get their things out of it. So there is dignity in human labor. Whatever work that someone does must be seen as a dignified activity, because work is seen as work because the one doing it is a human being. What is important is that the one doing is a human. That is why we call it a subjective dimension of work. So the Pope profound stresses that even monastic life endorses work. So we have to see that work is a dignified activity of the human person. So technology should not come and lead us off and then do all the job and see our capabilities, our talents, and all that we can do that God has gifted us with to deteriorate and fade out. That is what we have to talk about, and the subtopic that Pope Francis has work over there. So this is the third chapter for us, friends of Christ. We have talked about the fact that yes, technology is good, technology is beneficial to us, but it is doing harm because we don't use the appropriate spirituality and conscience and culture to guide it. That is why it is doing harm to us. You have also said that human beings are at the center, all right, but they should not neglect the poor, the needy. They should not neglect the physically challenged, the visually impaired, and all other people of disadvantage in the society. They should also take them into consideration because as part of the environment, these people are also deserving of our care and our protection. So when we say we should care for the land, we don't only mean the trees, the water bodies, the birds in the air, and the crops. We are also saying that human beings that are challenged in our societies, we should cater for them also. And finally, we talked about the dignity that lies in human labor. Forget anything at all in this particular chapter, in this particular episode, don't forget the fact that yes, technology is good, but we have to use the appropriate ethics to guard this. Indeed, I am a friend of Christ, and you are also a friend of Christ. I am an advocate for Laudato Si. That is my prayer, that you also become an advocate for Laudato Si, so that together we will care for our Father's property. Our Father's property is the land. I cherish your company with me in this episode as well. And I wish you all the best in all your endeavors. I pray for you and with you that you will struggle in order to use technology ethically so that we care for the land. May the Lord bless you and have a good moment. Bye.